Hey everyone, welcome back to the Sports Cards Nerd. I'm Adam Cardsner. I'm here with Kalama Hines.
Hines, yeah.
Hines, thank you. Hines, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How about you?
That's good. Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm halfway through my internship here at East Idaho News. So tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got your job with sports reporting.
So, like I was saying, I've always kind of loved sports. I grew up wanting to play sports. I knew that when that dream was gone, that I wanted to do something in the sports world. When I went to college, I went undeclared and kind of stumbled into the newsroom and never left. And it kind of found that, like, I guess you would say that niche of sports and reporting, and my love for the written word joined with my love for sports. So that's how I kind of found this career path. And then I got my job. I've been with East Idaho News and East Idaho Sports for about 6 years now. Before that, I covered professional sports in the San Francisco Bay Area, primarily baseball, mostly the Oakland A's. And I got that job through a blog that I was writing. Actually, I had been carrying on this blog that I was pretty proud of, and then I used that as kind of resume fodder for the journalism field and for sports reporting, and here I am, 10 years later.
That's great. Yeah, because a lot of people, like such as myself, want to be sports reporters, but it can be a little difficult to know where to start.
Yeah.
Do you have any suggestions on where to start, like after graduation, like entry level jobs or stuff like that?
Pretty much, you're gonna have to accept whatever job comes along. Really, like there's not a lot of reporting jobs, even fewer sports reporting jobs. So, like what I said, I wrote a blog. My first job in reporting, I did like city and town council meetings. So I did that to quote unquote pay the bills. And then in all my free time, I would write about sports. I would write kind of musings, opinions. I would write game stories just to kind of keep those tools sharp. So that would be my recommendation: is just get a job, and even if it's not in sports, kind of break through that wall and use your. I wouldn't recommend. I didn't have kids at the time. I wasn't married, and I guess my son had just been born, so that's a lie. My child is really young, so I used a lot of free time, probably more than I should have, and devoted it to blogging. And then I used that, like I said, to kind of put myself in that world. I had some help. I had an advisor when I was in college who was a sports reporter, so I mean that did definitely help. But yeah, just basically like you want to do as much as you can. That way you have something to hand out. You have clips to send. Hey, I understand you're hiring a reporter. Here's some work that I've done recently. If you want something else, or if there's something else I can give you, you let me know, and I probably have it. And that's what I did to get the job that I got.
Yeah, because one thing that my dad said to me recently is often the entry level job you get after you graduate may not be the dream job that you want, because you got to start somewhere,
Exactly.
even if it's something very, very simple. That's kind of what I'm experiencing right now as I look for jobs after I graduate from BYU Idaho. So, what would you say are some of the challenges with being a sports reporter?
Challenges. So any reporting job, you want to start with building your source network, right? When I worked with East Idaho News for the first 4 years, I was a news reporter, primarily crime. So kind of, getting out there, meeting the sheriff, the police chief of Chubbuck. I didn't really break in with Pocatello PD the way I wanted to, but I had some people I could contact there. Same thing with sports. I text regularly with several coaches in the District 5, the Southeast Idaho region, and they're the ones that I rely on. If there's something going on, they're the ones that hand me the information. Coaches will send me stats and box scores, and I can use that for my story. So that is the main thing. Is kind of if you're a reporter, if you're a writer, you should already kind of have those tools in your belt, right? The hardest part about the job is getting the information to put on the paper. And so that is what I would recommend, is where like kind of people building skills, more using the communication for other things, and being open to talk to people. I know when I covered professional sports, one person that I spoke to said athletes go through training to not give information. So you want to go beyond the athlete. And one actually recommended, hey, meet all the players' wives. The players' wives will give you more information than the player will. And I did actually kind of become, I don't know, I wouldn't say friends, but very communicable. I don't know how to put it, but friendly. Became friendly with several of the players' wives, and that did help, and that did get me information, and some information that I still haven't shared to this day. It's just kind of background information about the players. So that would be the main thing.
Yeah, so it definitely sounds like networking is absolutely crucial, not just with sports reporting, but with really any job, because networking can help you get jobs, help you do well on the job and stuff like that. So what are the things that you enjoy most about being a sports reporter?
Sports. Honestly, like, so like I said, I grew up playing baseball, football, and golf. I played basketball for fun because I grew up in Hawaii. I was around volleyball a lot. So I just I've always been around sports, and that's why it felt so natural for me to find a career path or a career field that was involved in sports somehow. There was a time when I wanted to be a sports agent, but I don't have the mathematic mind for that. Where like, I have a freshman in high school who, he needs help in math. I tell him, go to your mom. Your mom is the math one. If you need help in English or history, you can come to me. I'm better than your mom at English, history, geography, but math, science, that's your mom's kind of realm. So I knew that sports agent, sports marketing, that sort of thing, I guess not sports marketing, but being a sports agent was out. So just kind of being able to watch a sporting event and tell people, this is what's going on, or talk to a coach or a player, or just last week I covered the grand opening of Pocatello High School's new baseball field.
Oh, very cool.
And just kind of that sort of thing, is being able to put faces and names to this product, and that's where the fun comes in, is being able to be the medium, right? That's what media is medium. You're the one responsible for transporting information from here to here, and that's really fun to me, and especially when it has to do with sports, because I have this long built kind of love relationship with the whole sports world.
Yeah, that's very true. And I hadn't thought of it that way. Journalists and reporters are kind of the liaison between the athletes or the sports world and fans of sports.
Yeah.
So we're kind of the monkey in the middle. If you will.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And and that's my aspiration, is to be a sports reporter or a broadcaster, stuff like that. So one more question at least one more question I have is, what advice would you give to people who, you kind of already did touch on it a little bit, but what advice would you give for people who are aspiring sports reporters or broadcasters?
Yeah, I did. I'm kind of long-winded, sorry. Basically, if you love sports, it should come natural that you want to talk to the newsmakers, right? The coaches, the players, the athletic directors, that sort of thing. For high school sports, if it's college, athletic director as well there. But let me see how. So the interview tree, I don't know if they teach that BYUI, but you have different branches, right? Different branches, where the younger branches on the bottom of the tree versus the branches at the top of the tree are kind of different, right? So your interview tree for being a reporter is, your branches are going to be different. You're going to talk to the newsmakers, the athletes, but also the coaches, the friends, the fans occasionally are going to give you some really good insight into the game. So just, I guess the number one piece of advice is get out there, talk to people, build that network that we talked about, and the bigger your network is, the better. I mean, there's never going to be a time when knowing someone to contact is a bad thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the more people you know, the more people you feel comfortable with contacting out of the blue. I know a few coaches that if I called them right now, they would answer and immediately have answers for me. And that is kind of what you aspire to as a sports reporter, is being able to chase that information down that you need.
Absolutely, yeah. And you could say that journalism is essentially stepping outside your comfort zone, because
Yeah.
because you're interviewing people you may not know, which for me, being on the autism spectrum can be a challenge. But in my course of study at BYUI, I've learned that once you just step out there and you tell someone, hey, I'm such and such, most people are willing to have their stories told,
Yeah.
and that provides some consolation. But it's actually been a fairly easier for me than I ever thought possible to actually step out there and tell people, hey, do you have time for an interview? Or something as simple as that. And obviously not everyone's going to want that. That's okay. So yeah, those are basically all the questions I have for you.
Excellent.
Do you have any more final thoughts?
Just kind of to go along with that, the stepping outside of your comfort zone. I understand that is the way most people feel about coverage. Because I love sports, I don't feel like I'm stepping outside of my comfort zone when I talk to people, because I'm talking about sports. Like occasionally our conversations do, break. I mean, most of the coaches out here are fathers or mothers, so it does start to become about family, and that's when conversations get more personal, and that's when you build better relationships. But you get in with those people by talking about their sports. And for someone like yourself who loves sports, I would just say, like, go up to someone, even if you don't know them, like, hey, I'm Adam Karchner, I'm with East Idaho News or with the Sports Karch Nerd, and just, hey, that was a great baseball game today, or that was a great football game. Tell me about this play. Like, why did you choose the run on 3rd and 7? You know what I mean? And then just kind of build. That's how you can build those networks, is just kind of opening up and talking about the things that you enjoy, because that makes the conversation easier.
Thank you. Yeah, that is very true. Yeah, and like we both said, when you're offering someone the chance for an interview, it can give them a chance to have their story told.
Yeah.
And that can be really big. There's parts of my story, my life story, and my school story, and my story with my wife. Hey, I want to have this story told, stuff like that. So that can really help someone want to be interviewed. So yeah. Well, thank you so much for the interview.
Yeah.
And everyone out there who's watching and listening, this is Adam Karchner with the Karch Nerd. Thanks for the interview.
Thank you. You guys have a good day.